even for me.
When you're putting a team together before spring training, you don't know necessarily how they're going to mesh, but to your expectations, this has been pretty good so far, isn't it?
In terms of how they've gelled together and meshed? Absolutely. I, for one, couldn't be happier with the focus and energy and commitment to what we're trying to accomplish coming out of that, not only the clubhouse, but the coach's room as well. I mean, obviously, it's easy to sit here 3-1, having gone off on the right foot and praise the feel and the atmosphere that's going on in there. But in reality, we've really felt this way since very early in camp. And those of you that have been around the club or been down to Glendale, I think, sense that there was a very positive, focused vibe coming out of that clubhouse. And fortunately, we've been able to carry that over here for the first few days of the season and hopefully over the next several months.
Is it just getting better players?
I think it's a combination of having improved the talent level around that clubhouse, but it's also a little bit based on the character of the guys that have come in here. I mean, first and foremost, as we've talked about, our goal is to get the right guys who are going to produce between the white lines and produce on the field. At the same time, the character and the makeup of the players we brought in was a priority. Guys like Frazier and Avila and Navarro and Jimmy Rollins and Jackson, and guys who have been places where they've won and they've played important roles on clubs that have won, made them even more appealing.
Without casting aspersions in past guys, but is it a more of a kind of, like they say, pulling the same end of the rope, more of a team focus you see?
No, I don't want to, again, single out guys who aren't here or anything like that or compare it to past clubs. I just know that the feeling we have right now in there is of a very unified, focused bunch that has each other's back and is looking to pick the next guy up. And then none of them at this point seem to be trying to put everything on their shoulders. They know that their teammates have picked them up and they feel to get a job done themselves.
Was it as simple as just saying you needed to liven things up in the clubhouse?
I mean, when things aren't working, you need to change it. And that's part of the reason why some of the players who arguably have been productive in various roles for the club over the last several years aren't here anymore. Because simply, we felt we needed to make some changes in terms of that environment. I think I've mentioned before that at the end of last season, when I was sitting down with various players talking about the year in one-on-one meetings, many of them said, "Look, just bring back the same group." And I assure you we're going to contend. You got enough talent in here right now, just bring back the same group. As I explained then, we've talked about over the last few months, we weren't comfortable doing that. Something had to change in terms of the mix in there. We wanted to improve our production offensively, obviously. We wanted to improve some of what we were doing from a defense and base running standpoint. But we also needed more energy in the clubhouse. We needed the guys who were strictly focused on winning, and we feel that we have at this point. I would have said these same things a week ago, back when we were leaving camp, and I would have said the same things 5 weeks ago, early in camp, when you started to get that feel from this group. Again, it's a little easier saying it after a 3-1 trip, but we feel like we're well positioned with the makeup of what's in that clubhouse to contend over the next several months.
Rick, how heavily did you weigh winning resumes when you were picking the players to bring in?
It was a factor. Again, fundamentally, we needed guys who were going to produce on the field between the lines. That's the number one thing. We were looking to improve the offense. We didn't want to compromise what we were trying to do defensively. But when we were putting guys in order who would address those needs, tiebreakers were somewhat based upon character and makeup. That was a very important factor in terms of how guys were going to fit. Having played an important role on winning clubs elsewhere is a decent proxy for how a guy's going to play when you're in a position to contend.
What have you learned about identifying that good chemistry component that players are acquiring over the years?
It's not the easiest thing necessarily to just do. Everyone, all 30 of us, all 30 clubs want high character guys who are going to produce. Sometimes you have to take some chances on guys who elsewhere, had some so-called character hickeys on them. We don't have that championship banner up there without Bobby Jenks or AJ Brzezinski, who were guys that we probably would have stayed away from, or Carl Everett on that team, we probably would have stayed away from if the decision was based strictly upon reputation. Going back before when that club was built, up through when this club was put together, we implore our scouts to do the best that they can to get to know the actual makeup of the individual player and not base it strictly on reputation. Again, sometimes you need to take some chances to address a need, and conversations directly with that player before the free agent situation, before making that commitment. You try to do the best you can to get a feel for what they're about and what makes them tick and what they're trying to accomplish this year, and how they're going to fit. Sometimes, ultimately, the reputation is merited, and it's a guy who, in the end, you decide to pass on. But again, we whether it's from our own conversations or our scouts' hard work, it's a concerted effort to identify the right guys.
A few of the players believe that a negative early in camp created a positive, and that their focus was aimed immediately for each other. Is that a possibility in your mind?
I mean, sure, it's a possibility, but from my standpoint, and in talking to some folks who were around most all spring, I don't feel like the feel or the vibe or the momentum in the clubhouse was any different on March 28th than it was on March 8th. I mean, it was a group that came together fairly early in camp. Whether the little sideways distraction that we encountered midway through camp served to further unify them or further bond them. I mean, that's a narrative that I suppose people will write one way or another depending upon how the club does over the course of the year, and either pull them together and tore them apart. In reality, I think the team, for the folks that were around day in and day out, we had a really good thing going early in camp. We got distracted briefly in the middle, and by the end, we were right back to where we were at the starting camp. And that is with a focused, energized, professional bunch that had each other's back and was looking to win ball games.
Rick, to summarize, a challenge for players.
That's certainly our intent. I mean, that's certainly our goal. We're here. The thought process in that room and in the front office and in the coaches group is this is a club capable of winning, and that's what we're here to do.